You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
Oh, I told you it was going to happen. I told you it should happen, and indeed, I do think the people of Minneapolis, to a certain degree, can take credit for the fact that Kristi Noem has been fired. It's Jason. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Dan is here. Laura will keep you up to date on the news. We're keeping an eye on the state hockey tournament as that is going on right now over in St. Paul. Grand Rapids and Rosemount tied up at 1 in the second. So much fun. Such a great Minnesota tradition going on right now. And I don't know, in the scheme of great Minnesota traditions, what is more satisfying than gloating over someone being fired who has proven themselves incompetent at their job? Kristi Noem is directly responsible for the absolutely idiotic surge of ICE agents into Minneapolis and into Minnesota. It was her strategy that led the White House into going down a road on immigration enforcement that, to me, undermined the entire success that the Trump administration has had when it comes to enforcing immigration laws, closing the border, making citizenship mean something again. It was all undermined. And it's Kristi Noem's fault. Kristi Noem, who her career, I mean, she was one of the brightest stars of the Republican Party. Where do you think she went wrong? 651-461-9226. There are so many reasons. Ego. Ego is a big part of it in my book. And she was questioned by Republican Congress people about all of the money she spent on TV advertisements that were essentially like promoting ICE agent Barbie doll Kristi Noem. Dan was kind enough, because is this because Dan Cook knows what makes a good radio show, or is this that Dan Cook knows what I like to hear?
Those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. But today, Dan has prepared a couple of sound clips from the last time we talked about what should happen to Kristi Noem, which today is Thursday.
This would have been from Tuesday's show.
I'm going to let you guys be the judge. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much credit do I deserve for the firing of Kristi Noem? Here is one of the things I had to say on Tuesday about all this. If Donald Trump really wants to keep achieving progress on protecting the border, on fighting against the worst of the worst, if they're really out there, on curtailing illegal immigration, on, frankly, sending people back. Most Americans, or at least half of Americans,
is real good,
believe that every person who is here illegally should be deported.
Yeah.
But if Donald Trump wants to have any success in any of that, he's got to fire Kristi Noem. Huh? Kristi Noem should be fired tonight. Wow. A lot of times I get grief, Dan, for being equivocating or seeing all sides.
You were off by 48 hours.
No, it's true.
Less than that, but
I mean, I guess to Trump's credit, like, he's more patient than I was. I'm like, he's got to go. And part of why I think look, my analysis of this is not on, like, do I think Trump's policies are right? Do I think Trump's policies are wrong? My analysis is, if you're the president of the United States, the focus has to be on the mission. And your team is there to execute your mission. And yes, you want a strong team around you to push back when you're wrong, right? Part of successful leadership is not just surrounding yourself with yes men and yes women. It's surrounding yourself with people who are smart enough to be like, hey, like, I don't know about this. This is going to end up biting you in the butt. In this case, her focus to me was more on her own individual success, her fame, her publicity, her attention, her news conferences. There were reports that came out that said she was looking at Tom Homan. Now, Tom Homan, who was widely praised as the grown-up who came to Minnesota to get things under control, Tom Homan is not exactly like Mr. Peace and Love and let's see all people in this community as individuals. Tom Homan is like, get the illegals out of here. I'm going to get the illegals out of here. So here's Tom Homan, who seems like the adult, and Kristi Noem reportedly was upset when Tom Homan was getting media attention and she wasn't. The way I described it Tuesday, I think ultimately is what it comes down to for Donald Trump. And that is, well, this. The most egregious thing was the tactical decision to surge 3,000 federal agents into a community that they knew was going to be antagonistic. They did it to provoke the reaction. They wanted the fight. They wanted the chaos. That, to me, is, and that blew up on the White House. So if I'm Donald Trump, I'm like, you embarrassed the family. When you embarrass the family, you're done. The loyalty to me, when you've embarrassed the family, adios. Now you can question whether adios is the correct term to use for Kristi Noem. But she embarrassed the family. She embarrassed the family. She embarrassed the operation. And I do believe, even though what really brought her down was some of, as usual, did Trump fire her because she screwed up Minnesota? Or did Trump fire her because she alleged that he knew about the $200 million media campaign that focused on how pretty she looked and how tough she was at the border? Well, you can say Trump knew. Whether he knew or not, I don't know if it's a material consideration to him. But if you're going to throw your boss under the bus, to me, it's the same situation. What she did is make herself the story. She embarrassed the president of the United States, and she screwed this up royally. Now, I don't know if people in Minnesota will ever admit it. If you're a hardcore Trump supporter, do you now have permission to admit that what happened in our community was screwed up? Because I'll tell you, the text line at 651-461-9226 is always lighting up with people saying, like, Jason, like, the surge was fine. Like, things were fine. Like, I don't know, why are you defending people who are here illegally and are rapists and murderers? Like, look at all the good that ICE did in Minnesota. ICE didn't do a damn bit of good in this city. And in fact, it undermined the broader mission, which I think most Americans, including me, I support. I do think we've let our border be way too porous. We let people come over here with the promise of someday you'll have a hearing, and in the meantime, whatever, come on in. And I think that's no way to run our country. It just isn't. And so I do think our border policy has been a train wreck, and the Biden administration screwed this up big time. And Donald Trump, part of why he got elected, one of the main reasons, there were two reasons he got elected. One was economy. How's that gone for everybody? It's good if you're a stockholder. It was good if you were a stockholder before. Two was immigration. I really do believe that Americans were fed up with the idea that our borders were open, that our country, instead of being a land of opportunity for people who wanted to embrace America, I think for a lot of people, our land was a land of taking, where it wasn't about how can I succeed so I can give back to this country. It was like, well, you know, my current situation stinks, so I want to come here and have a better situation. Okay, like that's fine, but part of that equation is the idea that you're going to make America better. That's part of the deal. And so I do think Donald Trump had real popular appeal in both of those areas. Now, you could say, like, you could go through all sorts of other issues, but I think those two were the main ones why people were voting. And so when Kristi Noem decided, like, let's stick it to Minnesota so there's chaos and then maybe like some undocumented citizens around the country, they would just self-deport, it's just idiotic. It's idiotic. They could have gone to any number of other areas where there are far more quote-unquote targets. And they would have, I mean, let's be serious. We had, 3,000 or 4,000 immigration agents here in the Twin Cities for 2 or 3 months. And you can't believe any of the numbers they give you, but the latest numbers that I saw was that they arrested or detained or deported about one undocumented immigrant per agent. Is that good? No, it was a train wreck. And then 2 people were killed, and you got ordinary people who are rising up and like, what is going on here? It's all Kristi Noem's fault. Lots of texts coming in. What was your moment? What was your moment? What's your favorite Kristi Noem memory? 651-461-9226. Well, and then who else do you want fired? Some texters are weighing in with who I should call for the termination of next. We'll talk about that when we come back.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here with an opportunity. That's what this time of year is for me. The weather changing. Soon enough, we'll see tulips popping up, those buds showing up on your trees. Spring is so great. I love the spring. I think you do too. And spring is a great time to reach out to the team at Livia Weight Control Centers. Now, you guys know that Livia has absolutely changed my life. Oh, my goodness. I can't imagine my life without the team in Coon Rapids that helped guide me to losing 45 pounds. And then so many different people on the Livia team who've helped me keep that weight off now since December of 2022. I mean, we're talking 3.5 years I've kept 45 pounds off. When spring explodes here in the Twin Cities, wouldn't it be cool if you were down 10 pounds or more? You can do it with Livia. Your weight loss journey should be just for you. It should be more than just a prescription. It should not be the one-size-fits-all kind of generic thing. At Livia, do it in a personalized way, built just for you. You could do it in clinic like I did in Coon Rapids. You could do it in Minnetonka. You could do it. It's all over. They have locations all over. Or you could do telehealth. I want to give you $50 off GLP-1 medical weight loss. Or if you join the nutrition program, how about $17 a week? Yeah. Let's do this. Livia.com. LIVEA.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA today.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Drive Time with DeRusha
I'm just going to give it a big fat so what.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Kristi Noem fired as Secretary of Homeland Security. The president announced it on True Social because here we are, right? Like, that's how it goes. Lots of text coming in at 651-461-9226. Brad on Facebook, who's watching us as we stream. We invite you to watch us at the WCCO Radio Facebook page or YouTube or wherever you like. Brad says, Kristi Noem was promoted to a new position. Did you read the president's statement? And then 3 clown emojis.
Yeah, Jason, it was a promotion.
Yeah, you see.
It was a promotion, see?
Yeah, you were the Secretary of Homeland Security. And the president said the current secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. So, Dan, back when I was the morning anchor at Channel 4, I was then, I was promoted to special correspondent. The same thing happened to Nora O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I shouldn't use my example since I wasn't fired. But what about Nora O'Donnell? Remember, she was anchoring the CBS Evening News.
And now she's not.
Now she's not.
Right.
But she was promoted, see?
So many successes for Kristi Noem that they had to move her out of the job.
So one of her successes was sleeping with her aide, Corey Lewandowski, and being asked about that during a congressional hearing with her husband sitting in the gallery. Oh, who can forget? Like, what is with these Washington politicians, right? This is one of the many reasons we hate Washington and we hate politicians. Because could we get a decent human being? Here is some of the questioning from yesterday. I don't know if this could have had anything with why she was fired, Dan. I don't know.
Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House.
So
there are
special.
thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming
and
my
as an
time,
advisor,
Secretary, it is
and has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
making any
It is
decisions.
okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by the
to
question.
be making
But it is
decisions
also
and
a
putting
real
up your
question.
position. So what I would say
And
to
you
you
should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what we do
question
at the Department of Homeland
clearly
Security every single
and without
day,
any hesitation.
every single day is to protect
If
this
someone
country
is
and to
asking,
make
So she didn't say no. So we got to give her credit. She didn't lie. So that was good. Honestly, it's sad. It is sad. You had a governor of South Dakota who is an up-and-comer, had a lot of promise, was very popular in her home state. And it is a reminder of the danger of sort of getting high on your own supply, being so entranced with your own power, your own magnetism, and thinking you could get away with anything. And you can't. You can't. A lot of Trump supporters telling me she didn't get fired. I would say, like, you guys, man, the delusion is impressive. She got fired, and you should say, you know what, Donald Trump's smart. You can be pro-Trump and say, this is why we like Donald Trump. He doesn't let someone jeopardize his mission, his policy, his administration. Nobody's bigger than the goal. And so she was screwing things up and she got fired. Why do you have to try to say she didn't get fired? Trump did a good thing today. Trump fired someone who was screwing up left and right. And if you were to look at one individual in the government and say, if I had to blame someone for the chaos that's happened in our state over the last couple months, yes, you could look at Governor Walz and say, I don't know that the I Hate Donald Trump tour was helpful. But you also could look at Kristi Noem, and she's been fired. We're going to break in a minute. A fascinating conversation with Scott Galloway. You maybe have heard about his campaign to resist and unsubscribe. Can you have power against the tech companies by unsubscribing? That conversation coming up in just a minute here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Who likes shopping for insurance? Anybody out there? Anybody enjoy that? No? No. It's Jason. I love a deal. I do love a deal. I love knowing that I have a good deal, and I love knowing that I have the best people in Minnesota working hard for me, and the Canopy Group checks all the boxes. The Canopy Group is so different from the insurance situation that you probably have right now. One agent, one company, no choices. Any comparison shopping you do, you got to do on your own time. Who's got time to call up 16 different companies and try to find out if you can get a better deal on your home insurance or your auto insurance? And like, what if one is better for home, one is better for auto? How do you put together the best package for you? You don't have to deal with any of that. The Canopy Group will handle it all. Just one call. 800-967-3389. It's the best coverage for the best price. I called that 800 number. You could start maybe you don't like talking to people on the phone. That's cool. Get a quote at thecanopygroup.com. They'll ask some simple questions. What are you paying in your premiums? What's your deductible? What kind of coverage do you have? And off they go to work. Kyle went to work for me when I called 800-967-3389. Ran my scenario, my zip code, Maple Grove, 2 kids, 2 cars, 3 cars then. They ran it through 16 different companies. I saved $820 in my first year. Why don't you find out what the Canopy Group can do for you? Go to the website or make the call. It is thecanopygroup.com.
Before the flowers bloom, ahead of the birds returning, the first real sign of spring, it's Twins baseball.
Buck pulls this one down the left field line, has a chance. Get up, good.
The sights and sounds of everything at spring training happens here.
Sharply through the left side, RBI single, Austin Martin, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Your flagship home for Twins baseball. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Hey, it's Adam Carter here, inviting you to join me November 30th to explore tropical Costa Rica with Colette. We'll stay in the Monteverde Cloud Forest, a place you have to see to believe, where trees grow to heights of 100 feet and the wildlife is abundant from butterflies to sloths. Enjoy breathtaking views in Nature's Museum. Visit a coffee plantation to learn the history from the bean all the way to the cup. Plus, relax at a resort on the most beautiful beach of Guanacaste. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details, flights, meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Do not miss out. Meet me and the folks from Colette on Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park to learn more. Call Colette at 866-436-6734 or visit WCCOradio.com for details. Let's go to Costa Rica.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. Things are slow from Minneapolis, traveling eastbound through 94 past Penn, and 94 southbound jammed up Highway 55 as you head into the Lowry Hill Tunnel. North 35W slows as you make way past Lake Street into the downtown stretch. And over to the east side, you'll find 494 looking pretty good. Eastbound run is moved between Highway 52 heading up toward the area of Tamarack Road. Protect your home before spring storms arrive. Choose GAF asphalt shingles and receive free installation labor this March. Go to lindasconstruction.com. Jody Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
A new furnace from Metro Heating and Cooling is on average only $5,500 after rebates. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast time brought to you by Metro Heating and Cooling. Here is Chris Schaefer.
Scattered rain showers arrive late tonight as we drop back to 42. Rain tomorrow in rounds. We might even hear an isolated rumble of thunder. Now, there will be snow on the western edge of this system that will move from west to east. High of 52 tomorrow, so it stays liquid for us. We might see some of that snow early on Saturday. Then the clouds clear out. Only a high of 44, but back up near 60 on Sunday.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, 52 degrees on CCO.
The ride home deserves better conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
So earlier this week, we talked with Tane Danger, a Twin Cities improvisational actor, a podcast host, a moderator, about Scott Galloway. Maybe you've seen the publicity around Scott Galloway's book. He's talked about the fact that we're letting down boys and men in America right now, but he's also led a movement called Resist and Unsubscribe. So Scott Galloway is on a podcast, national podcast called Pivot with Kara Swisher. And, you know, one of Tane Danger, who's a local guy, one of his buddies hears this on the podcast.
Or something like that.
I got another idea that involves Kara Swisher. I think we should do a live event called Resist and Unsubscribe, and I think it should be a live event hosted in Minneapolis.
Oh, let's do it. I'm anytime. You know what? I'm there for you.
All right, so pretty good, right? And through that, Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher are doing an event in Minneapolis. It is Sunday at the Pantages Theater, a live podcast. They want to come here and raise money for Twin Cities nonprofits. And because of it, Scott Galloway agreed to sit down and chat with me. Let's start with how. Well, first of all, what was your reaction the first time you heard the name Tane Danger, that you were going to come here to see a guy named Tane Danger?
I thought that's my stage name when my second career as a stripper or a porn star. Yeah, no, that's a great name.
It's impressive, right? Like the first time I met the man, I'm like, I'm not sure this must be a fake name. It must be a fake name.
Either that or his parents are hippies.
Right. It's highly questionable. Tell me why you guys decided to come and do the live show here in Minneapolis.
We wanted to just nod to the people of Minneapolis. We're inspired by the resistance there, and we wanted to bring some economic activity, and just as a general objective of mine, and Kara agrees, that we want to do more stuff off mic. I find that, as you get older, you want to, I find I have a lot of courage, and I'm indignant a lot when I have a keyboard and a mic, and I need my actions off mic to foot more to my actions on mic. And we thought, why wouldn't we just do a live event there and bring, a small amount of economic activity and go just sort of nod to the people of Minneapolis.
Resist and Unsubscribe, your effort. When you first came up with this, could you just describe to our audience what that is, what the idea is?
Sure. So I think a lot of us have had sort of a last straw moment. Mine was when Secretary Noem described Alex Preddy as a domestic terrorist, and I decided I wanted to do something. So I like to think I understand the markets and economics, and have noticed that the Trump administration only backs away from policies when the markets fall. And we have essentially 10 companies control 40% of the S&P, and those 10 companies are highly susceptible to subscription growth or lack thereof. So I listed those 10 companies and links to make it very easy to unsubscribe. And the notices, or the objective, is to send a signal to American consumers that they can vote with their wallets and have a disproportionate amount of impact with a minimal amount of consumer disruption, and to try and change the incentives such that the CEOs of big tech no longer just see a one-way incentive to support or enable the president. And so we launched the site, had over 2 million uniques. I think we've had tried to calculate, be pretty honest about the analytics. We think we've taken about $1/3 billion of market cap out of these companies with the unsubscribes, and just want to, quite frankly, action absorbs anxiety. I've had a lot of anxiety over what's going on here, and it just feels good to be doing something with other people.
Isn't that interesting? I really do believe that desire to do something. We've seen that here from people donating to hunger relief, or donating to whatever it is, but just there is this sense of helplessness, I think, when we have nothing, when we feel like there's nothing we can do.
100%. And, if you're like me and you don't want to wait till the midterms and you're sick of just kind of barking into a mic,
right?
You can go to a protest but that's difficult. And I think it's powerful. But what I'm saying, as an example, if you unsubscribe from the paid version of ChatGPT, which is $240 a year, that company's raising money or closed around at 40 times revenue. You're literally taking $10,000 out of the market cap of OpenAI, which in enough aggregate they will feel. And there's a very strong substitute, the unpaid version or the paid or unpaid version of Anthropic. So the most radical act of activism in a capitalist society is non-participation. And I don't think American consumers are really aware that this weapon has been hiding in plain sight.
Scott Galloway is with us. It is one of those things that when you hear about it at first, you think like, come on, man. Like, all right, like me unsubscribing from Apple Music or Amazon Prime. I'm just one person. Does it really make a difference? Did you have any of that sort of self-doubt when you started this, if it would make enough of a difference?
Oh, yeah. And I'm still not sure it will. The most famous economic strike in American history is probably the Montgomery bus strike. And what people think about it is that there was a cinematic moment where a courageous woman gave up her seat. But actually what impacted, or what changed policy of the municipal bus system, as a young reverend named Martin Luther King organized thousands of carpools every day for 11 months. And the municipal bus system was losing $250,000 in fares each month. So the bottom line is, unsubscribing from ChatGPT is showing up with a bicycle. Unsubscribing from several things is showing up to the carpool meeting point with a van. I want to show up with a tractor trailer. And are we a gnat on an elephant right now? Sure, but enough gnats will bring down an elephant. And it just feels good to be doing something. I've already heard from many of the CEOs. It's gotten coverage across almost all national media. So, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And is this going to work? I don't know, but stranger things have happened, and it feels like we have a lot of momentum right now.
Well, Scott, and as a professor at NYU and a podcast host and all of these things, but the truth is, I think today in our modern age, there is almost a dismissiveness of protest. Like, is it going to work? You raised that question a couple of times. Is it going to work? And just even that idea of like, what does that even mean? What does it mean to say it worked? I think is sort of problematic. We don't know what the ripple effect of certain action is. And I look even here in Minneapolis, where I was skeptical of the day of action where businesses were closing so people could protest. I'm like, I don't know if this is what our economy needs right now. And then you look outside and see it's 20 below and there are 30, 40, 50,000 people in the streets. And to me, like that made a powerful impression. That did work. So some of this stuff can work, I think.
Yeah, well, it can, and it does. And so the number of people unsubscribing to Disney Plus convinced Disney to put Kimmel back on the air. So I don't think it's in any way unrealistic to think that the CEOs of these companies, before they decide to be kind of prostituted or show ponied around by the president, or to ignore some of his policies, or to show up to premieres or finance the documentary of the First Lady, or to provide infrastructure for ICE, I think they need to realize there's incentives on both sides of the coin here, and that we are watching and voting with our dollars. Like the greatest action, arguably, in government history in terms of dollars was 6 years ago. We allocated trillions of dollars in incremental spending, new laws, new regulations, new frameworks on a dime. We did this on a dime, not because tens of thousands of people were dying, but because GDP had crashed 31%. It really wouldn't take much to substantially hit the numbers of these big tech companies and send a signal to the market. So I think this is a string we can pull on and have a big impact with a fairly amount of modest effort. And what I would say around the modest amount of effort is that when I unsubscribed from AT&T, I found out that I had 4 accounts, 3 for BlackBerries and iPads that had been sitting in landfills for 10 years. So this not only isn't a ton of consumer disruption, but you might find you can save some money with canceling subscriptions you didn't even know you had.
Oh.
All right, Jason here. We'll have more with Scott Galloway as we continue that conversation in a minute. But I want to talk to you about Chris Lindahl and Chris Lindahl Real Estate, because you know the arms wide out bit, you know the billboards, but did you know that more and more people are saying yes to the guaranteed cash offer, not because of the speed factor? It used to be all about speed, where people would take a guaranteed cash offer because they needed cash out, they needed money. They were going to move to another state, or there was a family situation or whatever. Today, more and more people are saying yes to the guaranteed cash offer because they just don't want the headaches. They don't want to deal with the open market. They don't want to pay commission to an agent. They don't want to run the risk of the fact that somebody's going to flake out when you get near closing time and they just don't get you to the finish line. It's not worth it. ChrisLindahl.com can let you know if this makes sense for you. Chris is a Minnesotan. He's a friend of mine. He knows the old way of selling a house is broken. So why mess with it? Go to ChrisLindahl.com. Even if you're not selling now, just think about it. You can get a free smart seller guide. Find out if it makes sense for you. ChrisLindahl.com.
Get ready for patio season with By the Arts preseason sale now through March 9th. Upgrade your summer setup and score major savings. For 30 years, they've built maintenance-free furniture that lasts a lifetime, backed by a 35-year warranty and delivered direct to you. Keep in mind, By the Arts preseason sale ends March 9th. Shop bytheyard.net or visit the showroom near you. By the Yard. Life is better outdoors.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. Got that Febreze car on the vents, living life with that just clean freshness. Febreze car, if you know, up to 40 days of scent on low. My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. That's right, breathe happy Febreze, la 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 la.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Going to find a little bit of a slowdown traveling north 494, Bass Lake Road into the Fish Lake Interchange. West 94 slows as moving between Hemlock Lane and Weaver Lake Road. West 94 also slows into Minneapolis. It all begins back at Riverside. And then a little bit of congestion for East 94 as make way into St. Paul, making way past Dale Street. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Gutman Law, Wills Trust, and Probate Law at gutmanlaw.com. Tonight, chance of rain showers, low 42. That's so warm. Tomorrow, rain showers, isolated thunder. It'll be 52 degrees. And Saturday, some light snow possible earlier. A more normal 44. Sunday looks like 60. I mean, this is just bananas. It is 52 degrees in the Twin Cities. More with our conversation with Scott Galloway right now.
Jason DeRusha.
You are worth the price of admission every single day because I have no bleeping idea what you are capable of saying.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Scott Galloway is with us. You know, Scott, I wanted to talk to you. You've had so much going on right now. You got quite a bit of attention for your book about men. You were writing about men, which is one of the topics that I've been talking about on my show for 5 years. The fact that men in America
3 for BlackBerries
are in
and
this sort
iPads
of
that have been
floundering
sitting
period of like what, you know, how do you define masculinity in a context where that may seem toxic, that may seem dangerous and questionable, and then at the same time, like, you know, have we lost our way? Our educational system seems largely focused around raising up girls, and men have sort of been forgotten. And then you've had the resist and unsubscribe moment. Is this, for you, as you look at these sort of different topics that you deal with, sort of the intersection of commerce and society and culture, are there through threads between these different areas that you've been talking about over the last several months, or are they just separate and you're just kind of taking the world as it comes at you?
I have a set of criteria for what I get involved in. I want to wade in dangerous waters. I want to talk about things that are politically dangerous or could, for lack of a better term, get you shamed or canceled. I'm blessed with economic security and people who love me unconditionally, which means I have an obligation to speak out. I have a very finite nature of life. I'm an atheist. I want to start having a positive impact because I don't think I've had much of a positive impact. I think I've been mostly a beneficiary of America, but I haven't given much back. So, you know, quite frankly, I have a debt. The way I would describe, loosely speaking, my life in America is unprecedented prosperity with the lowest taxes in history and not a great deal of contribution back. So I'm just trying to catch up. And I think I'm understanding the markets. I have a bit of a footprint. And I want to, you know, I need to start paying back, if you will.
Is there room, you think, for a moderate approach? I feel like you get shamed as a moderate in our world right now.
Yeah, you piss off everyone. The
Right.
right calls me a libtard, and the left thinks I'm an apostate because if you don't sign it, you know, if you say Biden's too old halfway through his term, or you say DEI in universities is not a good idea, that it should be based on economics, or, you know, the Tyler Perry's kids or Trevor Noah's kids don't need affirmative action, or you say that young men are paying a price for the advantage I received, and that you know, we need to focus more on young men. That inspires a pretty serious gag reflex from people on the far left. But here's the thing, you know, I'm going to be dead soon, and so are you. So,
yeah,
if we should take risks, if you're blessed with some security, and like I said, people in your life who are going to love you even if you make a mistake or say stupid things. And I do really believe I've never been drafted. I've never been called to serve. I haven't paid enough taxes relative to the rest of America for the last 200 years. I've had extraordinary hurricane-like winds in my sails. You know, I feel like I have a lot of catching up to do. So, but yeah, being a moderate just means pissing everybody off, and the algorithms hate you. So you get served up as fodder for whoever might get angry at you. But yeah, I find there's absolutely no room in the middle. And what's weird is that on a population basis, there's more of us. It's just the algorithms and the media hate us.
Yeah, I feel that profoundly, right? Like I am painted as a MAGA Trumper and a socialist liberal. And it's just a factor of like people aren't actually listening to anything that I'm talking about. It's just whatever the algorithm serves up that makes you mad.
Yeah, there's a certain, unfortunately, and George Collins said this, when your ideology becomes your identity, then someone who has a different viewpoint is saying, not that you're wrong, but you are wrong. And so
it's an existential threat to your existence in a way.
And so unless you pick a team such that everyone lines up around every issue around the same orthodoxy, you risk being shamed or really upsetting people. And the way I describe it is, if I don't agree on the bombing of Iran with you, look at it like, yeah, we can have a civil conversation. But if I like the Patriots and you like the Buccaneers, it's not a reason to hate each other. So, I mean, do you remember when we were younger and you had a friend or you used to date somebody? Did you have any idea what their politics were?
No.
Everything's become so personalized and so upsetting. And also we have these massive algorithms with their hands permeating everything in our lives, trying to convince us to fight amongst each other because they make money. The more comments, the more conflict it is. So I actually don't think as a populace we're that divided, but we're being divided by some of the deepest pocketed, most technologically sophisticated companies in history.
Well, and I keep asking, are we getting better outcomes for this? Like, I understand that people are enjoying this sort of self-righteousness that comes with the 100% certitude that you're always right. But, reading scores aren't better. Economic disparities are worse. Like, I see like this division or this 100% fealty to your team is not resulting in a better solution. So why do we keep doing this?
Well, corporate America keeps doing it because there's money in it. Sure. And these companies are incredibly powerful, but 1 in 2 people our age feel good about America. It's 1 in 10 young people. So we're raising a generation of civic, nonprofit, and business and military leaders that just feel really poorly about America. That can't be good. And also anxiety, depression, and obesity are at record highs. So, okay, GDP's up, AI is creating a lot of shareholder value, the S&P's up, but if we don't like each other and we don't feel good about ourselves, that's kind of the whole shooting match. So I would argue that the Dow and the S&P are terrible metrics because they give us this illusion that we're doing well. And I would argue we're not. And I think a lot of it is, personally, we all need to take the temperature down a bit, but the algorithms from big tech pitting us against each other, I think has been really tear to the fabric of our society.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a 20-year-old at NYU and an 18-year-old at USC.
Oh, you're tracking. You're doing great. But you've got to keep working for the next 50 years with those tuitions.
Right. That's what I'm doing, hustling to pay all that tuition. But those kids, I worry about those kids. Their optimism towards the future is much different than what it was like when I was 18 or 20 at a fine Jesuit university that wasn't quite that fancy when I went to Marquette University in Milwaukee. But I worry about, and having 2 boys, like certainly a lot that you talk about resonates with the things I worry about with my kids.
Yeah, but you're tracking. If your kids are at NYU and USC, it means your kids are smart. They can take tests. They're mentally healthy. You're tracking. Like most parents would kill for your problems. But to your point, I came out of UCLA. You came out of Marquette. I got through school on $7,000 of total tuition, undergrad and grad, on like $5,000 in student debt. I was able to get a good job. Housing, my first house in San Francisco was $280,000. I came into the era of the internet. There was all sorts of places and venues, whether it was bars or school or in-office work where I could potentially meet a mate. I got to piggyback off of the incredible investment in technology the middle-class households made with DARPA. I could raise a ton of money as a graduate. I could get into graduate school with a 2.27 undergraduate GPA from UCLA, true story. Housing education were a fraction of the cost they are now. And we weren't bombarded every day with how much the world sucks and to feel bad about America. So I don't envy, I think young people have more agency than they believe, but there's no doubt about it. It's definitely, things have gotten harder for them, and definitely things have gotten much more expensive for them.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Well,
no doubt about it. Very interesting conversation with Scott Galloway. He'll be here in the Twin Cities this weekend. It's sold out. So you got 2 segments right here on CCO. Local news coming up. The breaking news today, Kristi Noem fired by Donald Trump. We'll have the latest from CBS and local news, and then Chris Cillizza at the top of the hour.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
On the air at AM 830 and 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Together with live streams via the Odyssey and iHeartRadio apps. This is News Talk 830 WCCO.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says on this 6th day of the war with Iran,
we're destroying more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour, knocking them out like nobody thought was possible.
He's calling on Iranian guards to lay down their arms or be killed. Trump says Iran's navy and communications are gone, and
further action to reduce pressure on oil is imminent, and the oil seems to have pretty much stabilized.
Oil closed up almost 7% on Wall Street today, and AAA says gas prices are up 9% from a week ago. At least a dozen countries in the Middle East have been targeted by drones or missiles, and according to CBS's Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv,
the main pressure point, we're told, are the Gulf states. They are already bleeding economically. The flow of oil has turned into a trickle, and I'm told behind closed doors, they are already putting pressure on the Trump administration to wrap this up.
The U.S. House narrowly rejects a resolution to stop President Trump's war with Iran. A similar measure failed in the Senate yesterday. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is being ousted from the Trump cabinet. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest.
President Trump made the announcement via social media saying, quote, "I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland." The president did not mention multiple controversies during Noem's tenure over immigration enforcement tactics that have led to protests and lawsuits. Her ouster comes after she was criticized by Republicans and Democrats alike during this week's congressional testimony. Trump says he will nominate Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin as Noem's replacement. The nomination requires Senate confirmation, but Mullin can serve in an acting capacity until then. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Markwayne Mullin is a first-term senator and a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. He tells reporters on Capitol Hill,
I was excited. The president, first of all, the president and I have a really good relationship. We talk all the time anyways. I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting the call today, but super excited.
The pressure is on for Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez of Texas to end his re-election bid after he admitted to an affair with an aide. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns.
House leadership is calling on Tony Gonzalez, who they endorsed for his re-election, to withdraw from the race. On Tuesday, he had a primary election. He faced a challenge there, and he was forced into a runoff that will take place several weeks from now.
Severe storms, including tornadoes, will be possible over the weekend across the southern plains, mid and deep south, and lower Midwest east to the Ohio Valley. The storms will be fueled by temperatures up to 30 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at jtv.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 51 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Minnesota U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen before another federal judge this afternoon, facing a threat of contempt of court after failing to return the belongings of immigrants who were detained during Operation Metro Surge. Twin Cities defense attorney Jack Rice on the gravity of the situation.
It's extraordinarily serious, and it's also very, very rare. You don't see federal judges hold prosecutors in contempt. It almost never, ever happens. So when you have multiple federal judges looking at this issue in this way, it really says something.
U.S. District Judge John Thunheim ordered this latest hearing, and Rice says he is well known for being a person dedicated to the rule of law. He is not expected to issue any ruling today. Earlier this week, Rosen went before U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Bryan. That hearing lasted 8 hours, and no decision was made as to whether or not to hold Rosen in contempt. The city of Minneapolis will soon hire a new person to head up its new mental health and wellness division.
The city council voted unanimously in favor of the funding after hearing from Police Chief Brian O'Hara. He went before the council talking about the situation they're dealing with right now in the aftermath of the rollout of Operation Metro Surge and the Annunciation Church shooting.
I pushed this within the last couple of months because I was very concerned. We have lived through some of our responders who went to Annunciation having very, very serious mental health issues. A member that committed suicide.
He says right now they have 14 officers out being treated for PTSD, with more retiring and others on paid leave, adding to the pressure of officers still on the street. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
A 33-year-old Minneapolis man who admitted to keying several Tesla vehicles over his anger with company founder Elon Musk avoids prosecution. Instead, Dylan Brian Adams received a one-day suspension from his state government job and was sent to an adult diversion program for first-time low-level offenders. Passenger rail advocates hoping to build upon the success of Amtrak's popular Borealis route to Chicago.
They're proposing a similar route from St. Paul to Kansas City, but Brian Nelson with All Aboard Minnesota says two bills at the Capitol need to pass first.
What those bills would do, Ari, is direct MnDOT to apply to the Federal Railroad Administration for the Corridor ID program to begin studying those corridors, which would, if approved, allow the state to apply for federal matching dollars to implement that service.
Nelson says he's optimistic, but there's still a long way to go.
It's how quickly MnDOT could move through the corridor ID process, of which there's 9 steps to apply for those federal dollars that I mentioned. Then it would be a matter of sitting down with Union Pacific Railroad, which owns the line, to negotiate the service.
Meaning the entire process could take between 3 to 7 years. Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And finally, Six Flags decides to sell Valley Fair. The new owner, EPR Properties, will be in place when the park opens for the season in May. The company says nothing will change for season ticket holders. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for the northwest corner of the metro with a crash working 494 northbound as you make way toward I-94 in the Fish Lake interchange. Activity off the left side. Your slowdowns coming up from Bass Lake Road. 35W northbound as you make way toward Highway 10. Going to find an accident working there. Patrols with the activity off to the right side. Get ready for your slowdowns past County Road 96. Things are jammed up West 694, Central Avenue to 252. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
How would you like to solve your water issues at your house? You can with Aquarius because they're an independent Connecticut dealer. The best water you can get. Systems available, $9.95 per month for the first 3 months. I use it every day. AquariusHomeservices.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Our storm system arrives tonight. Scattered rain showers as we fall back to 42. There'll be rounds of rain tomorrow. Warm enough for that with a high of 52 degrees. It's tomorrow night into Saturday. We could see some light snow coming through. Clouds clear out the rest of the day on Saturday. That's the cool one, around 44. Still above average. What a recovery on Sunday. It will be breezy with a high near 60.
Cloudy right now, 51 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Where Minnesota checks in and finds its voice.
Long-time caller, first-time listener.
News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
Oh, man, if you love the boys' high school hockey tournament, what excitement in the last couple of minutes in St. Paul. They are celebrating at South Suburban Rosemount tonight. Adam Carter's Rosemount, Minnesota, where Rosemount was up 2-1 near the end of the third.
Grand Rapids scored with less than 30 seconds
the goalie.
left. Less than 30 seconds to tie it up, send it to overtime.
2-2, overtime,
and in overtime.
Rosemount comes through. Big city kids, those metro suburban kids, knocking off the hard-scrabbled team from Grand Rapids, the 4-5 seeds. Pretty fun. Man, I always think about this. Chris Cillizza joins us. He's here to talk about Kristi Noem. But Chris, I've got kids who played sports, and high school sports, there is something so final about that game where you're eliminated, where you've spent your whole childhood shuffling your kids off to hockey practice and early morning ice time or whatever. And for me, it was soccer. And then all of a sudden, the clock runs out and it's over. You're like, it's over. It's so it's so shocking as a parent.
I'm already dreading that a little bit. Now, my son wants to play college soccer, so I'm hoping that gives me a 4-year extension if someone wants him to play for them. But yes, I mean, I think it's like an end of an era. Though I will say, I mostly watch the Minnesota high school hockey tournament for the haircuts.
Oh, they did not disappoint.
For the dye jobs, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, I assume a lot of these kids have prom coming up in the next couple weeks, and I guess if you're like a high school hockey player, you're probably like sort of the stud of the school as it is, so maybe the girls are fine with that. But in my day, if you came to prom with your hair looking like this, I don't think my date would have been very happy about it, you know?
Well, I would say I needed all the help I could get, so I kept my hair however I needed to try to get anyone to agree to go to prom with me.
Chris Cillizza, you right now have very sort of cable news pundit hair, you know, like the official sort of not quite middle-aged white guy hair. Yeah, it's sort of right. That's the bit. What was high school Chris Cillizza? What was your hair like? You got to send me a picture.
Okay, so great question. There does exist a picture online of me in high school, 1994 graduate of high school. This was the 90210 era. So I had the long Brandon and Dylan sideburns, like literally down to past my bottom of my ear. Yeah, it's not a good look. But if you do type Chris Cillizza high school, and there's a black and white picture of me.
Is this from, you went to Georgetown? Is this your old home address on this photo?
This is high school.
All right, I think I have this photo up on our live stream right now. The sideburns are.
Do I look good? Because that's how you'll know.
I mean, it's something. It is something.
I was a product of the culture of the time. How can I make that more clear?
I mean, this is the same. This is my era too. I'm a '93 graduate of high school, so I remember I think I had those same glasses and the same sideburns. Yeah.
As you can tell, I was super cool in high school.
Oh, yeah. The women were all about it. I was the morning announcement guy at my high school. Can you imagine how sexy?
That surprises me not at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The girls were lining up. All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hockey player in Minnesota. Hey, I'm the guy who does the morning announcements. It's a 6 of one, half dozen the other.
I went to the state tournament in radio speaking the same time another dude in my high school went to the state tournament in wrestling. And then the following weekend, I run into this guy, Rich, in the hallway. And Rich was like one match and out, and I was like a top placer in state. And Rich was like, man, you did so much better than me. And I'm like, Rich, you can tell your grandkids that you went to the state tournament in wrestling when you were in high school. I went to the state tournament in radio speaking. Like, it worked out fine for you, buddy. Like, don't worry about it.
You're going to be good, Rich.
All right, let's talk about Kristi Noem. She was fired today despite the insistence of all of the people texting me that she was promoted.
Oh, come on, people.
Chris, they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. I do think...
first of all, the job that she was, quote-unquote, promoted to doesn't even exist yet, number one.
Correct.
They're announcing it this weekend. And number two, it sounds like a made-up job that one of the Avengers would do. It's like special envoy to the shield of the Americas. Trust me, being the head of the Department of Homeland Security is more influential, powerful, and important than being the shield of the Americas.
Why was she fired?
You know that movie where it's Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, and he makes that famous line where he says, nobody puts baby in the corner. You know, they're like at a, you know.
It's Dirty Dancing.
Like
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. I kept thinking Footloose, but I'm just too old.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, and I'll explain why. Donald Trump is the star of the show, okay? Now, you might be an actor that he hires to be in the show, the reality show, but he's the star of the show. And the way that you stay on the show is you make sure you always remember who the star of the show is. And I think Kristi Noem repeatedly did this, but I think it came, it came to a head this week. She was being questioned by John Kennedy, who was a MAGA guy, a senator from Louisiana, not that John Kennedy, the Republican John Kennedy. And he was like asking her about a thing that had been public knowledge, but I don't think people had paid attention to it, which was like DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, had approved this $200 million ad campaign to kind of, in theory, promote DHS, but really to promote Kristi Noem. And I think that Trump was like, wait, what? And Noem had said, oh, well, Trump approved of this. And he gave a quote, Trump gave a quote this morning to Reuters saying, I had no idea about it. And that's you don't put baby in the corner. Trump's the star of the show. You don't use Trump's spotlight to put a shine on your ambitions. So I think Kristi Noem, she wanted to be someone, right? She's a member of Congress from South Dakota. She becomes the governor. They push her really hard to be VP. She doesn't get that. They push her really hard to be in the cabinet. She gets the DHS job. And then she spends a lot of that job kind of doing photo ops where here she is on a horse. Here she is in El Salvador in front of a bunch of prisoners who have been set up for this photo op. Here she is with a gun on the border. And I think the cumulative weight of that, given what we know about how Donald Trump thinks, which is I'm the star of the show, I think probably doomed her.
Here in the Twin Cities, as we talk with Chris Cillizza, political analyst, you can follow his Substack by searching Chris Cillizza. I look at the debacle here in the Twin Cities when it came to the immigration agent surge, and what frosts me about this is this was a strategic choice between the Kristi Noem, Greg Bovino approach and the Tom Homan approach. And the Homan approach would have much more protected President Trump and would have protected the goal of trying to get people who are undocumented out of this country, where the Noem chaos approach absolutely undermined that whole thing and has now, I think, has Americans questioning ICE, Border Patrol policies, all of this stuff, when enforcing the border is very popular by Americans. Deporting people who are here illegally is very popular. And I believe that this is Kristi Noem's fault. Trump signed off on it, but it was her strategy to have chaos.
Oh, 100%. And she's the one who put Bovino inexplicably as the face of this with all his military gear and the coat. So, look, I think that the proximate cause of Noem getting jettisoned today was this. She's too ambitious. She's putting herself above the administration. But you can absolutely not dismiss the hit that she took within the administration and in the eyes of Donald Trump with how they botched the Minneapolis thing. I mean, now I will say to people, he didn't fire her during or after Minneapolis.
Yeah,
now,
true.
Part of that is because he didn't want to give in to quote-unquote elite opinion, which is, in my mind, ridiculous, but he didn't fire her after that.
Yep, could have.
He kept her.
Yeah.
And he could have. He absolutely could have. I would say if there was a similar situation with a different president, they probably would have. But I do think it's never, it's like anything else. It's never one thing. Minneapolis did not help her. The constant talk that got re-upped this week in a House hearing yesterday about is she having an affair with her deputy that she didn't deny twice under oath doesn't help. The Minneapolis thing is
with her husband in the
a,
audience too. You're like,
my,
in the gallery.
Somebody said to me, Kristi Noem had the worst week in Washington. I was like, maybe other than her husband Brian, who was sitting in the audience while she refused to deny that she was having an affair. But, it's a cumulative thing. So it's not any one thing. If Minneapolis never happened, does Noem still have her job? Maybe. But just knowing how Trump thinks, also maybe not, because I think it was kind of like he wanted her out, and then he had seen her replacement, Mark Wayne Mullen, or the guy they've appointed at her as her replacement, Oklahoma senator. He had seen him on TV a bunch over the last few weeks. Trump likes people who are good on TV. Mark Wayne Mullen is out there kind of flacking for Trump's immigration proposals, which, is what Trump really cares about. So it was kind of like, okay, bad week for her with these hearings. Obviously, Minneapolis was a disaster, maybe kind of wanting to get rid of her anyway. And, now I've got this person that I can put in there, too. Yeah. And he's like the rest of us. He likes the shiny new object. He wants somebody new.
Sort of a no-brainer. I was calling for Kristi Noem to be fired 2 days ago, and I didn't expect it was.
I'm surprised she didn't get fired after Minneapolis. I mean, again, the level of incompetence and bad judgment displayed solely by deputizing Greg Bovino as the face and operational lead in Minneapolis should have led for her to be fired. Trump won't fire her for that because it would be conceding publicly he made a mistake. But it's any other administration should have already been gone. So these people who are applauding that Donald Trump got rid of her today, it's like, I mean, I guess, but, she lasted longer than most people would.
Chris Cillizza, who looked beautiful in high school. You can see.
Oh, yeah.
You can see.
Real looker.
You can see these images on our YouTube channel, and you can follow Chris on Substack. We appreciate it. Thanks,
I want credit, Jason, for your ratings bump when people are looking at my photo.
It's going to be huge.
The Cillizza effect, we'll call it.
It's pure sex. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Chris Cillizza with us on CCO. We'll be back in just a minute to talk about whether or not federal agents should be allowed to mask up. Should we ban masks on federal agents? I've changed my view on this. We'll talk about it coming up.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Taurine Dermatology can get you in within 3 weeks. Let me just repeat that because it is so unusual when it comes to a dermatologist. Taurine Dermatology can get you in within 3 weeks. It's Jason DeRusha. I can vouch for this because Taurine Dermatology and Dr. Mohiba Taurine is my dermatologist, And I have reached out through the online portal at Tareen, Tareen, dermatology.com. I have booked appointments for myself with Dr. Tareen at the Roseville office. There are 10 Tareen dermatology locations all over the Twin Cities metro area. They're in Hudson. They're in Eagan. Roseville is where I go. So many locations, and that size allows for you to get in quickly. In Lakeville, for example, before Tareen showed up, you would have to wait as much as 6 months to get an appointment with the dermatologist. How much do you have to wait now? 3 weeks. It is unbelievable. And, getting in just anywhere is fine, but getting to the best dermatology team in the upper Midwest, now that is something special. I trust Dr. Tareen with myself, with my wife, who just had an emergency appointment yesterday because she had a mark on her face that she was concerned about. She got in. It turned out it was fine. It was nothing to be concerned about. They removed it. Good to go. Peace of mind. Full body skin checkup. If you've never had it, do it. Make your appointment today. Get online. Get in within 3 weeks and let me know how it goes. Tareen, Tareen, dermatology.com.
Taking one of those instant cash offers for your home is easy, but if you take it, you're missing out on tens of thousands of dollars. Hi, it's Vanita. It's easy to learn what your home is worth. The John Schuster Group with Coldwell Banker Realty will tell you for free online in seconds. Chances are your home is worth more than those instant offers. The Good Neighbor agent can help you sell it fast for way more money. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Jason DeRusha.
I have never really been a fan of his, but the truth of the matter is the guy really does care. My opinion has completely changed about the guy.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Tell me who's gonna save me from myself when this life is all I know. Tell me.
Then I'm going to have some thoughts about cats coming up a little later in the show.
Boy, can't wait to hear that.
Probably 4:50, because I had a cat experience today. So stick around for that. Law enforcement officers and agents in Minnesota and in America should not be allowed to cover their faces with masks. This is very simple to me. We first talked about this 8 months ago when, remember the confusion over a raid on Lake Street at a taco shop? And everyone was like, oh, my God, it's ICE. ICE is here. ICE is raiding Latino businesses in Minnesota. And it turned out it was a federal drug smuggling and a money laundering investigation. But that was the first time that we really saw this sort of federal agent showing up at our town with their faces covered. And I just reject this idea that because federal agents are worried that they're going to be doxxed or have their identities sort of publicly exposed, protesters coming to their house, whatever, that their concern over that outweighs our concern to feel safe with law enforcement rolling into our communities. I do believe that the state should make it a law that if you are a law enforcement officer in Minnesota, you cannot cover your face. At the same time, if you do dox an officer, if you show up at their house or if you threaten their family, we have laws that should be enforced if you go over the line. But our local law enforcement officers, our county deputies, our state troopers, why don't they need to mask up? They got their name and their badge number right on their shirt. And so you get this federal agent coming into town. And look, if you're an undercover cop, for sure, you can protect your identity. If you are an immigration agent, a Border Patrol agent, a Department of Homeland Security agent, sorry, if you can't handle it, don't be an agent. Don't be a cop. If you're that afraid that your identity is going to be revealed, maybe don't do something crappy. I just think if it's good enough for our local cops, it's good enough for some out-of-towners, especially, who are coming into our streets. Now, the reason they have to do this, Dan, it is understandable. And I'm not like, originally I was a little more ambivalent about this because I do think that the tactics of people who hate law enforcement are so over the top that I do understand why you would feel like you need a little extra protection.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of empathy for folks in law enforcement. Obviously, my dad's retired law enforcement, so I get that end of it. I truthfully do. I also believe that law enforcement is given tremendous amounts of power and authority over the public, and that demands a certain level of transparency. So I'm completely anti the idea that any law enforcement officer should be wearing a mask to hide their identity from the public that they're trying to supposedly serve and protect. Now, having said that, what I don't like about this idea of the state passing a law so that if the feds come in, now they can't wear masks because of a state law, is now you're requiring local law enforcement to police federal agents. Yeah. And that puts local law enforcement in an impossible position. I don't think any agent should be wearing masks, period, paragraph. But for the state to try and enforce it on the feds puts local law enforcement in an awful position, and that's why I think this bill's a bad idea.
Interesting. I think that's fair. I have concerns about the state trying to prosecute ICE agents for, they want to go after Greg Bovino for deploying a chemical irritant to the face of a protester. And I think, to me, that's a civil matter where I do think you as an individual should have recourse. You should be able to file a civil suit. And I think it's counterproductive to have, you're going to charge a gross misdemeanor? What are we doing? What's the point? So I understand where you're coming from. I do think that perhaps states need to take the lead on this. Because now we have an evenly matched Republican House. It would take one Republican to cross over. Would a Republican do that? No, because we have simplified these issues in such an annoying way where you're either for law enforcement or you're against it. And it's ridiculous. On YouTube right now, one of our commenters saying it's already against Minnesota law. Masks are only allowed for health and entertainment, which is true in Minnesota. But federal law enforcement is allowed to do their federal law enforcement duties, and if they're allowed in federal, I don't know that law would get the job done. And then another commenter is saying, well, the protesters cover their faces to avoid arrest for breaking the law. Is that the standard we want to apply to federal law enforcement? The standard of Joe Public? It's as a protester, should you be allowed to cover your face? As long as you're not violating 609.735. I guess, do we have to what about everything to death? I guess we do. But you can restrict law enforcement, I think, without being anti-law enforcement. It's really not that difficult. And frankly, I think it makes the federal agents sort of look like babies. Your local cops are tough enough that they're now that worried about being doxxed. Oh, no, I'm going to be harassed. Like, yeah. Then we will go after the people harassing you. I am very against that. And I'm in favor of laws that would ban protesting in front of legislators' houses. I would be in favor of banning a protest in front of a law. Although, like, is that even happening? Like, what is the doxing that we're worried about? Oh, we're doxing people who kill someone or shoot at someone? Like, I don't know. That's not called doxing. That's called, like, releasing public information. It's what we used to do. We're going to break. DeRusha Eats is coming up in a minute. Have you seen video of CEOs, fast food CEOs, making fun of the McDonald's guy? We will talk about that, and I want to know from you, what is the best fast food burger? Because McDonald's has that new burger out. What is the best fast food burger? We'll talk about that when we come back. 651-461-9226.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. Where Minnesota checks in.
Thanks for having me on. I love your show.
I wish more people listened to get the balance.
And chimes in.
I have had enough of this government. Republicans like to say the law and order.
It's your turn.
Let ICE do their business. We don't want criminals. I've heard this in the news.
Anger makes you stupid.
Add your voice to the mix. The CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226.
99% of realtors recommend a home inspection, and with Win Home Inspection, you're guaranteed the best when you hire the handsome bald guy. Steve Stalock with Win Home Inspection delivers a comprehensive report within 24 hours of your inspection that analyzes your home from the roof to the foundation and all major systems. Win, we see more clearly. To schedule an inspection in your area, call Steve at 952-891-4455 or go to wini.com. That's WINI.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Chad back here, everybody, talking once again about Pella Windows and Doors. Track them down, PellaNorthland.com. When I moved, there was no doubt I was going with Pella. I visited their showroom in Plymouth. They also have a showroom in Woodbury. Had them out for a free, no-obligation in-home consultation, and the rest is history. I love my windows and doors. In March, 0% APR for 72 months or 20% off your Pella project. Don't wait. PellaNorthland.com. Chad back here with you. I want to talk about trust and peace of mind. We all need it, in particular in some areas, including your insurance. Maybe it's for your business, or maybe it's more traditional with your house and your car. For me, I have trusted Amber Scholl and Associates with American Family for, what are you guessing, 5 years, 10 years? No. My entire family, whether it's my father or my kids, with American Family, with Amber in particular, for 30 years. We dread something bad happening with our house, with a car accident, but we need people with expertise, with professionalism and availability, and that's what Amber and her team are all about. Reach out to them today. It's worth it. Trust me. 651-738-48
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
94 westbound near Riverside, got a stalled vehicle blocking the left lane. State Patrol and First are on the scene. It looks like they might be clearing. Vehicles are moving down the traffic lane anyway. We'll keep an eye on that for you, but in the meantime, get ready for your slowdowns as you come in from Huron Boulevard. Traveling 36 eastbound, got your slowdowns past Cleveland Avenue over to Lexington. A little bit further out to the west, 494 northbound as make way past Bass Lake. Earlier crash cleared out of the way, but it is still slow from Bass Lake Road up into the Fish Lake interchange, and everything's cleared now for 94 westbound at Riverside, but there is some activity on the ramp west 94 to Riverside. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters presents Guys and Dolls, a high-rolling musical spectacle packed with iconic songs and dazzling dance numbers. Don't miss this Tony Award-winning Best Musical, Guys and Dolls. Tickets at chanhassendt.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Chanhassen Dinner Theater, always entertaining you. Here's Chris Schaefer.
Scattered rain showers arrive late tonight as we drop back to 42. Rain tomorrow in rounds. We might even hear an isolated rumble of thunder. Now, there will be snow on the western edge of this system that will move from west to east. High of 52 tomorrow, so it stays liquid for us. We might see some of that snow early on Saturday. Then the clouds clear out. Only a high of 44, but back up near 60 on Sunday.
It is cloudy and 52 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRusha, he has the eats.
Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like your favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard. Drive Time now transitions into DeRusha Eats.
And DeRusha Eats is brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board. Have you heard about McDonald's new product? The product, the Big Arch, which you never would have heard of if it wasn't for a video that went viral because people on the internet love piling on and making fun of someone. It started with the CEO of McDonald's, Chris K., who, look, have you guys ever had a CEO? Like, have you ever had a big corporate boss? Like, maybe you work for a family-owned company. And your boss is like pretty chill, pretty cool, super charismatic. Almost gives influencer vibes. More likely, you've worked for a CEO like Chris K., who gives nerd vibes. Little nerd, gives product vibes. Here's Chris talking about the Big Arch. He's going to take a bite in a minute. Get ready. I mean, it's just 2 patties. You're just going to take a bite. He created this burger. Nope. It was not a big bite at all. Now, look, I have spent the better part of 10 years eating food on camera and making it look like a big bite and a big moment. And there is a bit of a secret technique to eating food on camera. Dan, have you ever eaten on camera?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, probably hidden camera for sure.
You never know.
So there's a bit of a move, right? So you take the burger, you take a big bite, and when you take that bite, you make like a little bit of a sound. Take that bite. And then you
actually make the bite sound when you're taking the bite?
I do. Yeah. It's for the radio. This little.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I mean, do you want to make the sounds for me and I could do the moves?
I'd really rather not.
I'm
no.
going to take the
Okay.
burger. I take a chew. Oh. And then you have like a mild sort of
indigestion.
The line between indigestion and orgasm is very thin. So you're emoting about the food.
Because it's so good.
Yeah, because, it's entertainment. It's a little entertainment.
You're not suggesting that somebody with some sort of entertainment experience ought to be doing this video?
I am not. I am saying that McDonald's has the greatest marketing campaign for the Big Arch in the history of fast food marketing.
Unintentionally so.
It's brilliant. It's so good. It's so good. Because tell me one thing in today's digital social media algorithm-driven world that travels the quickest.
Beautiful women.
Second thing is dumping on
somebody, yeah.
Now, the peak of that, I think we saw during the Coldplay concert. We had a beautiful women and a CEO that you could dump on.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got all the ingredients. You're dumping on a rich guy. You hate the boss. You hate the man. You hate the CEO. Mock. And aren't you kind of curious about the burger? I think it's brilliant. I like McDonald's. I don't love McDonald's. I'm a McDonald's. I'm not a big fast food guy.
No.
But if I'm going to get fast food, I mean, I do love the McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah, they're on the list.
That sausage
Sure.
biscuit. The Quarter Pounder, I think, is a legit burger. Today in the Star Tribune, they posted a video. They had Joy Summers, who I love Joy Summers, but having Joy Summers, which you hear her on this radio station. She's on with Adam and Jordana sometimes. And Joy Summers eating a fast food burger to get her reaction. Come on, man. Like, there is no way. If Joy would have been like, that is delicious, I would have had full respect. But Joy not liking, Joy said that it was like, well, it tastes like a McDonald's burger. Like, ugh. Food writers should probably, like, not be allowed to try fast food, you know?
What about that lady out in North Dakota that did the Olive Garden review?
She's dead.
Okay, but as an example, somebody like that could do it.
That would be fine.
Right.
That would be fine.
Because that was the best advertising Olive Garden's ever had.
Now, on YouTube, C Clones is saying the Big Arch sauce is too mustardy. Too mustardy.
Sure.
That's fair.
That's
fine. Here, want to hear Joy trying it? Here we go. What's happening with the jazzy? Yeah, jazzy music. Okay, all right. All right,
Here it comes.
Big bite.
It is big and beefy and a McDonald's hamburger.
Yeah, just like the arrogance, just dripping. Like the secret sauce dripped, and so did the snootiness. I asked people a little bit, like, I asked people what the best fast food burger is. And overall, Culver's. Culver's is the best, says a 763er.
Butterburger's hard to beat.
Butterburger Deluxe, no competition, is a 612er, a 952er, Culver's. Is this what can bring us all together?
The Butterburger?
Yeah, whether you're in the 763, the 612, the 952, the 320,
the 507,
the 651, the 218, Culver's.
We can all agree the Butterburger is delicious.
Culver's is delicious. Now, you found, like, the Burger King CEO, all the CEOs are, like, making fun of this, right?
Well, he wasn't making fun of it. I think he was just doing this video on the side, but yet it's another example of why you don't let CEOs do their own ads.
Hey, so I've been getting a lot of feedback on the Whopper.
I don't know. I remember like Whoppers as a kid just being like so good and so juicy.
He's
and
taking
then,
notes during
now
this call.
It felt so soggy and just sad.
What I'm hearing is people say they love the Whopper, but I want it to taste that good in the first bite and that good in the last bite.
Absolutely, and that comes down to a perfect proportion and great ingredients.
That looks great.
And beautiful produce.
This is no good, right? This is not that good.
No, it's horrible.
Now, I've seen other fast food chains.
Nobody hears that and goes, "Oh, I got to go have a Whopper."
No. Too fancy. I like the simplicity. Now, a texter says, okay, you left out the part where the CEO of McDonald's called it a product.
Yeah.
Now, again, I would say, like, he's the CEO. It's a product. What do you want?
Which is why you don't have CEOs selling stuff.
I think this guy has sold more burgers than any here. What we can
Maybe,
hear.
but not intentionally.
Do you want to hear him saying product? Does
Go
that
for it.
Make everybody happy? Hang on. Here we go. You've heard about it. This guy's in charge of the biggest.
I mean, if it's a hit in Portugal.
I love this product. It's pretty funny.
Ugh, so dumb.
I'm gonna have it for dinner tonight, I think.
No, you're not.
Why not? Why do you doubt me? You know that this is exactly how you provoke me to do things. I shave my beard because my wife said, you're not going to do it. I'm like, the hell I am. So, Alyssa, if you're listening, guess what's for dinner, honey?
Chris Tubbs just poked his head and he said he's going to try it, but you're not.
Have you tried it? Chris Tubbs, wearing a shirt that says work sucks, entering the room, and on the back it says, I know. Tubbsy, have you tried the Big Arch yet?
I have not, but I was very tempted to run by one of two McDonald's last night on my way home.
All right,
and I am actually, the more that I hear you guys talk about it,
right,
the more intrigued I become.
If you need me to call in on the Lake Show and do a live taste
I think you
test
should. I absolutely think you should.
Of the product.
Because I don't think you'll do it.
I think you should. Yeah. If you do that for us.
And by the way, it's not one bite. You got to eat the whole thing.
The last time I ate a whole burger.
Hang on.
Alyssa and I always, all right, well, but that's DeRusha Eats. You got to listen all day. You never know. Maybe tonight during the Lake Show, I'll be. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shut up. Hit the button.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Texter says the same thing. Big Arch for dinner. Oh, yeah. Well, it is time to talk about the real oh, yeah. This is the dilemma. When is McDonald's going to introduce like a pork cutlet, you know? Oh,
Isn't the McDonald's pork cutlet the McRib? Isn't that basically what it is?
I'm not certain what McRib is, to be honest. I don't know. I'm probably not allowed to say any of this stuff during this message for the Minnesota Pork Board. So how about let's all pretend that this never happened. It's Jason here, encouraging you to go to your grocery store, your butcher shop, and ask for Minnesota pork. And maybe you need some recipe inspiration, right? We all get kind of in ruts, and this time of year, it's busy. If you're a busy family, you got kids going one way and the next. I want you to go to tastewhatporkcando.com. Taste what pork can do. We want you to put flavor on the table. We want you to have real food, delicious, high protein, lean. And we want you to support those family farmers in every corner of the state. 3,000 family farmers. That's what makes up Minnesota pork. So feel good about it when you go have that pork chop. Maybe you have that pork cutlet. Get that hammer out, slam that chop nice and thin, bread it. Oh, yeah, is right. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
We're talking construction law today with Blake Nelson, an attorney from Helmuth & Johnson. Blake, why is having the right legal support so important?
One delay, one payment issue, or one contract mistake can put an entire project at risk and be the difference between making and losing money. In Minnesota, contract terms, timing, and documentation matter.
How does Helmuth & Johnson help?
We help contractors, subcontractors, and property owners protect their rights, get paid, and keep projects moving.
Learn more at hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side, for all your construction law needs.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
10 westbound jammed up, 694 over 235W. East 94, get ready for your slowdowns past Riverside, heading over to Snelling Avenue. And got your slowdowns placed west 694 Matterhorn, heading out to Highway 100. Eastbound 694, get ready for slowdowns past Shingle Creek Parkway over to East River Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get ready for patio season with By the Yard's preseason sale now through March 9th. By the Yard, maintenance-free furniture lasts a lifetime with a 35-year warranty. Shop BuyTheYard.net or visit a showroom near you. By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, CCO forecast is unseasonably warm, that's for sure. Brought to you by the Yard tonight. Rain showers possible, low of 42. Tomorrow, more rain, isolated thunder. We're talking about a 52 high. Saturday, 44, and then 60 on Sunday. How crazy is that? It's 48 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I got to sit through this schlock. And if I were a nice guy, I would say that it's dull and uninspired.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I think my sort of ambivalent attitude towards cats has been well covered on this radio station before. I'm skeptical of cats. I feel they're not to be trusted. I believe that while dogs exist to give humans love and comfort and loyalty, cats exist to essentially plot to destroy you. They are silently planning their takeover. They barely need you to exist. In fact, humans are so goofy when it comes to cats that we have just set up little dishes in our homes where cats can take a leak and take a dump. Very strange. So today I get asked to go to my in-laws' house and feed their kitty. And so I open, I go out to Plymouth, I open the garage door, and if you're watching on the stream, here's this adorable picture of this cat. And from the second I open the door, this cat starts rubbing up on me, like kind of taking the head and doing the the move. If you're a cat owner, you know the bit where the cat's just like, I think, guys, the cat loves me. And I'm really struggling because I don't like cats, but this cat had my number, right? Because Dan, you're a fan of the love languages, right? We all have different love languages.
Sure.
For some, it's acts of service. For some, it's gifts.
For some, it's physical touch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not getting a cat, but, like, it was kind of nice. Like, I felt loved. I felt loved, Dan. That's all any of us want, right? We just want to be loved. Am I softening up in my old age? I don't know. Local news coming up.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Proud to be the voice of the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. This is News Talk 830 WCCO, 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. It's day 6 of the war with Iran, and according to President Trump,
the United States military, together with the wonderful Israeli partners, continues to totally demolish the enemy far ahead of schedule.
The head of U.S. Central Command gives an update on the war with Iran. CBS's Cammie McCormick with more.
Admiral Brad Cooper said more than 200 targets have been hit inside Iran in the past 72 hours.
And in just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans.
Defense Secretary Hegseth said the U.S. has no shortage of munitions or weapons.
Worries about the war against Iran and what it's doing to energy prices weighed Wall Street down again today. The soaring price of crude oil is blamed for a big sell-off. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The rise in the price of oil has contributed to a big jump in gas prices since the weekend. AAA says the average gallon of gas is up 27 cents, and many experts believe that if the war in the Middle East continues, that prices could go up another 30, 40, even 50 cents a gallon.
President Trump is removing Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary to serve in a special envoy role. Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin is Trump's choice to now lead the department.
I am super excited about this opportunity.
Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin is psyched about news that he's been picked to lead DHS by President Trump, even though he's got to go through this little thing called confirmation.
We get along great. I look forward to working with him and his cabinet.
Some Democrats have expressed concern about the culture at DHS and whether changing the leadership will help help, but Mullen says,
I want to try to earn their support.
Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says 53 medical schools across the country have agreed to require every medical student to complete 40 hours of nutrition education in an effort to combat obesity and chronic disease. Secretary Kennedy says the average medical school currently only requires 2 hours.
53 medical schools across 31 states are driving the national movement to champion nutrition education and reshape the future of medical training.
Dangerous weather will threaten much of the country. CBS's Jim Crisula.
Severe storms, including tornadoes, will be possible over the weekend across the southern plains, mid and deep south, and lower Midwest east to the Ohio Valley. The nasty storms will be fueled by temperatures up to 30 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year.
This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Minnesota's trusted voice, every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 51 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Minnesota U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen before another federal judge today as he faces the possibility of being held in contempt of court.
U.S. District Judge John Thunheim ordered this hearing where he is expected to ask Rosen why his office failed to return the belongings of immigrants detained and then released from the Whipple building in a timely manner. Earlier this week, Rosen faced federal judge Jeffrey Bryan. They went through items that had not yet been returned. Twin Cities defense attorney Jack Rice says Thunheim could decide just missing the deadline was enough.
You ignored our order previously. Just because you decided when you were in the mood to do what I told you to do doesn't mean you're in violation, because you were. And if you were in violation, they can still hold you in contempt.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
That hearing is now over. Judge Thunheim said he would not be making any ruling today. The Minneapolis City Council passing an ordinance that would help renters who got behind on their rent during Operation Metro Surge. Councilmember Robin Wansley.
This is one of the ways in which we can exhibit political courage to match just the admirable courage that our residents have demonstrated for over 2 months now under this occupation.
The ordinance would temporarily extend the pre-filing eviction notice from 30 to 60 days through August, with the goal of giving renters more time to access resources for rental assistance. 36% of Minnesota is officially in drought, with 68% abnormally dry, according to the latest U.S. Drought Monitor report. The driest area of the state is north of the Twin Cities in Pine, Carlton, and Aitkin counties. Twin Cities Metro is considered normal. Months ahead of schedule, Minnesota-based General Mills removing all artificial dyes from foods it produces for school lunch programs. The company is also planning to remove them from all U.S. cereals by this summer and all of its products sold in the U.S. by the end of next year. History could be made this week for the University of St. Thomas.
Both men's and women's basketball teams need to win 3 games in the Summit League tournament in Sioux Falls to make the NCAA tournament in their first year of eligibility. Tonight, the Tommies men's team faces South Dakota State as the number 2 seed. Head coach John Tower.
We don't control what team we play. We don't control where we play it. We don't control what time we play the game. And at the end of the day, you got to win 3 games in 3 or 4 days against a bunch of really good teams. So, you listen to them talk, and I mean, they get it. It's just one day at a time, and worry about the things we can control.
Tip-off tonight set for 8:30. As for the women's team, they'll play Oral Roberts at noon tomorrow. A win would most likely put them up against top-seeded North Dakota State on Saturday. Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Laura, we're gonna spend a little more time with Johnny Tower coming up at like 5:25 or so.
Excellent.
So pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah. You just think like this dude, he grew up like he played at St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight to have that first step along, maybe getting to the big dance if they win that tournament.
Exciting.
Pretty cool.
Yes. It's 5:06 on WCCO.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are pretty slow for traveling north 100 coming up from Bass Lake Road, heading toward I-94, 694 eastbound, jamming up at Xerxes. continues to be heavy over to Central Avenue, and then again some slowing between 35W and Lexington. You're going to find some slowdowns place traveling 94 eastbound as you make way past Cedar Avenue, heading out to Snelling Avenue and South 35E. That's a slow ride from 94 heading down to Highway 62. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys seeking justice for the injured. And you can find them at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Our storm system arrives tonight. Scattered rain showers as we fall back to 42. There'll be rounds of rain tomorrow. Warm enough for that with a high of 52 degrees. It's tomorrow night into Saturday. We could see some light snow coming through. Clouds clear out the rest of the day on Saturday. That's the cool one, around 44. Still above average. What a recovery on Sunday. It will be breezy with a high near 60.
Cloudy right now, 51 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dependable, sometimes unpredictable, and always relevant and compelling. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
All right, so in the DeRusha family, we share one Amazon Prime account. It's Alyssa's.
Now shut up and drive.
And with two kids off at college, there have been some unusual things showing up on the family Amazon account. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Dan is with you in our third hour. So on the Amazon account, do you have your own Amazon account, Dan? Or
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, because you're a grown-up. Our kids
I mean, debatable, but yeah.
Our kids are in college. It's fine, right? Like I think it's reasonable that they use
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, also, side note, remember when Prime, like next day shipping, meant like you would actually get it the next day? All right, I'm not going down that road. But Alyssa the other day looks at the stuff that's arriving, and here are some of the items arriving today, and we're like, which kid is ordering this? Arriving today, plastic ferns, a like photo backdrop of like plastic plants, a series of balloons spelling out "I got a text." That was canceled. Some inflatable palm trees, set of 4 inflatable palm trees, 3 giant beach balls, and then just breaking news, a realistic big size black snake temporary tattoo sticker.
I was going to go with Seth when it was the plant stuff.
Yeah.
But the temporary tattoo sort of screams Sammy.
Sam is having some sort of themed fraternity
party.
That's
where I was pivoting there, right at the end.
Yeah. The family group text just has Alyssa simply sending the screen grab of the thing where it says the orders continue, because Seth started this thread saying, like, what's going on? And Sam says, I could be ordering illegal things. Be happy. That's
the most 19-year-old answer in the history of 19-year-old answers.
When people say to me, they're like, your kid, we had in our first hour, we interviewed NYU professor, best-selling author, Scott Galloway. It was a great conversation which you can get wherever you get podcasts, or you can rewind our video, and I'll post the video of it tomorrow. But when I said I've got one kid at NYU, one at USC, he's like, well, you're doing it right. You're winning. Your kids are obviously like mentally stable enough to handle competitive schools. And I'm thinking like, I got to stop you right there.
Or just bring them a screen grab of the text thread there.
They're like, oh, you've done a good job. I am very hesitant to accept anyone telling me that I've done a good job parenting. Because then I have to take the blame when whatever he's ordering goes south. So I just say the jury is out. The jury is out. Lots going on today. Let's get you up to date on all of the news stories that I'm keeping an eye on. We call this the DeRush Hour News Headline.
The headlines you might have missed without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DeRush Hour Headlines, starting with the lead.
And our lead story breaking this afternoon as the President of the United States, Donald Trump, tells Kristi Noem, thank you for all you've done. Good day. Kristi Noem is out as the Secretary of Homeland Security. Reasonable, rational people would say Donald Trump has fired Kristi Noem. Many of our texters are insisting that Kristi Noem was promoted because Trump had a Truth Social post that indicated that Kristi Noem had a new job. And indeed, if you believe being the special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, which is not a thing, but apparently it's a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they're announcing on Saturday, if you believe that's a promotion, I mean, wow. Honestly, like, let's be serious. But I do think Donald Trump deserves credit for recognizing that Kristi Noem was jeopardizing his entire operation when it comes to securing the border, securing the homeland. And we saw it firsthand here in Minneapolis. I thought Donald Trump should have fired Kristi Noem after what happened in Minneapolis because it was her choice, her strategy to swarm and surge immigration and Border Patrol agents into Minneapolis, into Minnesota, a state that does have people who are here illegally, but compared to other states, it is a nothing burger of a problem here. But it was done to make a point, to cause chaos. The chaos was the point. And it failed. It backfired. 2 Americans are dead. Public opinion and public support of the tactics of immigration agents is in the toilet. And it didn't need to be this way. He could have gone the Tom Homan route, which is what they're doing now. And so Kristi Noem is out amidst her refusing to answer whether or not she was having an affair with her aide, Corey Lewandowski, who is also out, according to CBS News. We talked with political analyst Chris Cillizza about what the real reason was, because my reason was Minnesota. Chris Cillizza says, that's not the real reason she was fired.
Donald Trump is the star of the show, okay? Now, you might be an actor that he hires to be in the show, the reality show, but he's the star of the show. And the way that you stay on the show is you make sure you always remember who the star of the show is. And I think Kristi Noem repeatedly did this, but I think it came, it came to a head this week.
Kristi Noem on horseback was probably her undoing, which the Kristi Noem $220 million ad campaign, supposedly talking about protecting the border and Homeland Security, but really featuring what many called Immigration Barbie. That was bad, but what was really bad was in testimony when Kristi Noem said Donald Trump knew about it. So Kristi Noem trying to protect herself. You don't betray the family. This is what I said on Tuesday. And Donald Trump took action today. Next up, in the DeRush Hour News headlines, an example of the city of St. Paul passing new drive-through regulations that I think make way more sense than what we're seeing in Minneapolis. New rules for drive-throughs approved by the city of St. Paul. This has been very contentious, very contentious. And the reality is Americans love drive-throughs. Look what Caribou Coffee has been doing. They've been closing down standalone coffee shops that don't have drive-throughs. Is it because Caribou wants to stick it to pedestrians? No. It is because Americans have decided that they like the convenience. The city of St. Paul has spent 2 years reviewing this, and they sort of had a hold on drive-throughs. There are 75 drive-throughs in St. Paul, and it's a tricky situation in an urban area where you do have more pedestrians, you do have more cyclists, and we've seen the Starbucks on Snelling in St. Paul, which they call Carbucks, because the way it's orchestrated, cars end up backing up on the highway. It's a real mess. So the new rules set up the number of required off-street stacking spaces. So banks and pharmacies, 12 stacking spaces for fast food, 14 for coffee shops, and you're not allowed to stack up onto public sidewalks, trails, bicycle lanes, alleys, or streets. To me, this makes sense. You do have to be reasonable about drive-throughs in urban areas, but if you're Minneapolis or St. Paul right now, should you be taking action to discourage business from opening up in your communities? I would say no. No. So this seems like a reasonable solution from St. Paul. New cars. Have you looked for a new car lately? Pony up. Pony up. New York Times with a story that I thought was interesting, entitled How $800 Monthly Car Payments Are Hurting Car Sales. Whew. What is the number for you when it comes to the number that feels comfortable with a new car? I feel good around $600. A $600 monthly payment. You're like, yeah, that's even a little higher than what I would want to pay for a car. I'd rather put down a larger down payment and not have that monthly reminder of what you're paying for that depreciating asset. At the same time, I freaking love cars, man. Like, I would get a new car every 3 months if I could. I just absolutely love it. New car companies, new car sales are trending down at many companies. Analysts and dealers saying they don't expect it to get better soon. New car sales fell more than 3% in February. They expect total sales to fall to about 16 million vehicles this year. The owner of a bunch of dealers in Central California calls it a crisis. I did not realize the interest rate was so high. There was a point, because I haven't bought a new car in a long time. I'm driving a 2018 Kia Stinger that I bought used in 2020, I think. But the interest rate on a 60-month, so a 5-year car loan, is 7.22%. In 2021, it was under 5%. That's a big number. It's a big number in trying to persuade people to buy a car. I mean, the average price of a new car is pretty much $50,000. $50,000. It's tough. One more note, Valley Fair was owned by Six Flags, and as of today, it has been sold. What does the sale of Valley Fair mean to you? Probably nothing. Six Flags is an enormous operator of amusement parks. Cedar Fair, maybe you've heard of. They merged in 2023. So now Valley Fair is going to be owned by this real estate fund. It'll be operated by Enchanted Parks, and shouldn't be that different. Let's break in a minute. John Tower, the head coach of the University of St. Thomas men's basketball team. Tonight is the first game. They got to win 3 games and they can go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in the history. The big dance. first time in the history of the University of St. Thomas. Johnny will talk to us from the tournament site in just a minute here on Drive Time.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, Twins fans, it's time for spring training at Fort Myers. Cheer on your favorite team at Hammond Stadium within the Lee Health Sports Complex. Then explore our islands, beaches, and neighborhoods between games. Sink your toes into white sand. Discover lush nature preserves filled with wildlife. And dine on fresh Gulf seafood. Turning your love for baseball into a relaxing vacation just feels right. Start planning at visitfortmyers.com.
Question: what business couldn't use extra income? Hey, it's Tiki Barber. Right now, Amazon Hub Delivery is looking to partner with ambitious local businesses to become Amazon Hub partners. You and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area when it's convenient for you. With each package delivered, your business gets paid. Get started at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated. And with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry. Offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a cybersecurity engineer at a publicly traded company.
We've been hacked! They're through our firewall!
How is that even possible?
They got my password.
Please don't tell me your password was password.
It's actually password 1.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's okay to be skeptical and cynical about this. I think that's part of the deal, but it's also okay to have fun.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRush Hour News headlines going in depth tonight, talking hoops, talking basketball, with my friend, the head coach of the University of St. Thomas men's basketball team, Johnny Tower, with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline, because this is a big weekend for the university and a big weekend for your program, John.
Yeah, it is great to connect with you, Jason. We're in Sioux Falls, and Summit League tournament play starts tonight. At least for us, it does. So it's an exciting time. It's the first year we're eligible for the NCAA tournament, which just means we're like all the other 365 teams in the country in Division I. But it's been a pretty wild ride the last 4+ years, and got another great group. Won 23 games in the regular season and keep getting better. So we're excited to play South Dakota State tonight, which is basically a road game. There will be 7,000 Jackrabbit fans there. And so it's going to be, they're a perennial power in the league for the last 15 years. And so it'll be a great challenge for us in the opening round.
I mean, expectations, of course, for you and for this program have been high. Part of the success of University of St. Thomas is sort of leveling up as an academic institution has been getting on the national radar when it comes to the athletic teams. And you guys and your women's team has also had a tremendous season. What the path to the NCAA tournament, you guys pretty much have to win this tournament this weekend, right? Even with a tremendous regular season, 20-plus wins.
Yeah, we do. The landscape in college basketball has changed quite a bit, where the days of the mid-majors at large, think Butler back in 2010, 2011, and they may have won their conference title, but the old Missouri Valley, most of the leagues now are one-bid leagues with the exception of probably 6 or 7 leagues. And so, you got to win no matter what you do during the regular season, you basically got to win 3 games in March, which adds a certain element of pressure, certainly, and it may not reward the best teams who are the best all year long, but it's part of, I think, the craziness of March Madness when people talk about it. I think, it's not just the NCAA tournament, but really, if you watch basketball, if you like basketball, the next 10 days, these conference tournaments, I think, are among the most entertaining days in sports, in part because of what's at stake, and also because this is the 3rd time that all these teams are playing, so they know each other incredibly well. There's some friendly rivalries. There's some not so friendly rivalries. So, if you get a chance to watch these games, I find myself just kind of entranced. Even you flip on a conference that you don't follow closely and you watch one of these games and the intensity level is just through the roof because all these kids are playing for, to try to punch their ticket to March Madness, which is pretty cool when you see that level of competitiveness.
Now, when you look at your team from this season, these players are special to a certain degree because they, some of them who've been with your program for 4 years really signed up to be kind of pioneers for a school going from D3 to D1. And then with the eye of this year, it wasn't a guarantee that you'd be given a green light to compete for the NCAA bid this year, because that process used to be, a 5-year process. But, this year being the first chance really to go to the big dance, these players must mean a lot to you.
Oh, they're incredible. We have one 5th-year senior, Ryan Dufault, who, you're exactly right. When he signed up for this, he came to us as a walk-on, and we were not going to have a chance to participate in the tournament. Even the Summit League tournament, we didn't get to play in the first year. And so, yes, when I look at a kid like him, who has really he sort of epitomizes our program in so many ways. He's just fearless. He's like 5'10". He doesn't shoot threes. And yet, if you watch him, he's just one of the most inspiring players because his toughness, his unselfishness, his defense. I mean, you ask our fans, you ask opposing coaches about our program, and they'll talk about Ryan Dufault. And he's just an incredibly unique player who I think has been the perfect kind of the kid who helped us transition from D3 to D1, right? There were 9 former D3 players on that first year's team, and I give them a lot of credit because that first year we won 10 games when people probably didn't think we'd win many, if any. We also lost 12 straight games that first year. And since then, we've won 19, 20, 24, and now 23. And I think a guy like Ryan has been so instrumental. Carter Bjerke would be another one who's in the 4th year in our program from Wayzata, who have really helped carry that culture over from Division III and all of those values. I'll be forever indebted. I could talk about them for hours because they're local kids. They were state champions in the state of Minnesota. And we took a chance on them and they took a chance on us, and it has just worked out incredibly well.
Johnny Tower with us here on CCO. Look, for you personally, what does this mean? I mean, you played for this school. You grew up in St. Paul. I mean, this is tonight to start that real journey with the conference tournament and a chance to go to the NCAA Division I, big dance, March Madness. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, like, for you as a kid looking at St. Thomas, you couldn't, I don't know, could you even have dreamed it up at that time?
Well, no, Steve Fritz was nice enough to recruit me, and he took a chance on me, and Steve is an absolute legend, as you know. And he, so I
and his wife. You better mention Bev. I don't want to hear about it on Facebook.
I'll tell you what, Bev is one of the best fans. They are still at every game, and I don't have to say much to the referees because Bev always would let them know what she thought about them. No, and Steve and Bev, they really are. They, like, when you look at the school, they just, what they have meant to it and how far the school has come in so many ways. I mean, my dad was a 1963 alum, so I started coming to these games in the late 70s. I was probably 6 years old, and not in our previous gym, not in the old gym, but the old gym, O'Shaughnessy Hall. Wow. I still remember the first time he took me to a game, and that would have been like 1978, 1979. And so, yeah, this is, I mean, it's certainly to get a chance to continue to be a part of the program, having coached here 26 years now. And when you put it like that, I mean, honestly, we try to keep the kids' heads on, where it's like, just focus on the next game. And they've been really good at that. And if you look at our first 4 years in Division I think we've played something like 161 games. And they've been really good at focusing on, what's tonight, just be the best we can be tonight, and don't think about what's at stake. But, they would all tell you, yes, this would be a dream come true. And certainly, I would put myself right in that category. We all feel really excited, and yet that it sounds cliche that if you get ahead of yourselves, not even by a game, but really by a possession, things don't work out that well. And so that's, I think, our mantra to the players is just take it one possession at a time and see what happens at the end of the day. But they're a joy to coach. Win or lose after every game, I'm proud to coach them because they're just really, really good young men.
Well, go get them tonight. We're cheering for you. We'll be watching, and it's going to be a great weekend, hopefully a great weekend for the University of St. Thomas.
Hey, thank you, Jason. Appreciate your support.
Johnny Tower with us on CCO Drive Time. Back in just a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Lenseek.
TikTok parent ByteDance is on a hiring spree as it expands its artificial intelligence team in the U.S., with Bloomberg reporting that the Chinese company is hiring up to 100 people. ByteDance recently divested its U.S. TikTok operations to a group of U.S. investors, including Oracle. And ByteDance is also known for AI, recently launching the 5th generation of its Cdance video generation model. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to Lenseek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. Lenseek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. Lenseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
I do. If it's DeRusha's 521 swivel glider chair.
The 521 swivel glider chair is Craftsman direct priced from $1927 or $81 a month for 24 months. So whether it's 6 a.m. or 11 at night, you'll fall in love with 521.
Oh, Jim. DeRusha's no gimmicks, haggling, or hard to understand pricing. In Woodbury, Burnsville, and Minnetonka.
Decidedly worth your time.
If you have a vacant investment property and want to sell it, call the John Schuster Group with Coldwell Banker Realty. They can get you the most for your investment. I know. I've seen them in action. It's Vanita. John's marketing system helps him sell houses fast and for the most money possible. That's what you want. Craig just worked with the Good Neighbor agent, that's what we call him, John Schuster, to sell a home. Craig was building a new home and wanted someone to move in right when it was finished. John's marketing system helped Craig find a buyer on time. It took John, get this, 10 days to sell Craig's house for $15,000 over the asking price. This is a huge investment. You'll want to make money. And you start with, what is your home worth? Are you curious what your home's worth? Find out in seconds. Just go to johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free edition only. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple form 1040 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax Free Edition. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, Student Loan Interest, and Schedule 1A.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Yeah, the crash working South 35W near Lake Street, but it looks like everything's cleared out of the way, though. But still a slowdowns coming down from University Avenue. South 94 is jammed up in Lowry Hill Tunnel as you make way past Highway 55. North 100 still seeing slowdowns there as you move past Bass Lake Road. Heading up toward I-94 and then East 94/694. That's slow from 100 heading out to East River Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Oh, we're so grateful to Bill and the whole team at Washburn-McCreevy for their support. The Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Cremation Pre-Planning Services. Bring us Chris Schaefer. Hey, Chris.
Scattered rain showers arrive late tonight as we drop back to 42. Rain tomorrow in rounds. We might even hear an isolated rumble of thunder. Now, there will be snow on the western edge of this system that will move from west to east. High of 52 tomorrow, so it stays liquid for us. We might see some of that snow early on Saturday. Then the clouds clear out. Only a high of 44, but back up near 60 on Sunday.
Are we happy with this? I don't know. I was walking around without a coat today. It's still 50 degrees in Minneapolis on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always, and I mean always, on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Quite free. I'm happy.
Dessa had something very funny on Instagram today. Dessa, Twin Cities musician. And she posted that she was performing live and her headset, like her Britney Spears style headset, wasn't working. So the sound guy is like, grab the handheld. So she grabs the handheld microphone. You know, she's doing the thing. Hello. Where all of a sudden you're at the Holiday Inn by the arena. Welcome to the Dessa show. And then that stopped working. And you're like, there are certain times where it's a total train wreck, right? Like this show, have we had a show totally fall apart, Dan?
Not totally.
I feel like we haven't.
No. We've had a few that have teetered, but not gone completely off.
Yeah, and it's for different reasons, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
Sometimes, like, I'm just not on my game. Sometimes, I mean, it's never you. Sometimes we have technical gremlins. Sometimes it's our equipment. Sometimes, like today here at the station, people are a little thrown off. Two reasons. One, we won a big national award as a station. So, like, the poobahs around here are very excited. I am still sort of new to radio, so I don't really know what anything means, right? Like, when I was in TV, if you won I don't know, what are the big, I never won any of the big stuff, you know? I won the regional Emmys. I have won a lot of Emmys. I have a lot of Emmys in my day. It's like regional, you know what I mean? It's like being the best sales guy in Shakopee. I mean, it's nice, right? Like, what is... Anyway, so we won this Crystal... It's the Crystal Meth Award, is that right?
I don't think that's funny. No.
The National... It's like the Nabisco Crystal Award or something?
The National Association of Broadcasters.
Okay. What is that?
The National Association of Broadcasters.
Okay.
What do you mean? Kind of right there in the title, Jason.
All right. So it's
an association
of
broadcasters across the nation.
And so we've won. It's sitting in the lobby. Now, I just got a message from somebody who tried to come to the station today and couldn't get in. So putting an award in our lobby, I get it's mostly just for us, right? So people are a little, I don't know what you would describe. There's a little, and then there's also some commotion because we've had a bit of a mouse issue. Where are you on mice? Pro, con, afraid, not afraid?
I don't know that I'd say I'm afraid.
They're
vermin, so I'm not pro.
Okay. If there were a mouse running like right now, like right under your little space, your little workspace.
That did happen to me many moons ago in a previous configuration of this studio where there used to be, this whole thing was turned sideways and there was a pit down there that we had to sit in because there's a false floor, so this was all the way down at the bottom. And I did have one go skittering by my and it startles you. That's the thing of it. It's not like you're afraid of the mouse, but you're just startled by you're not expecting there to be a critter down there, and suddenly there's a critter down there.
Do you think it's weird that people have a mouse as a pet? Like, that strikes me, of all the things you could have as a pet,
I don't judge other people's pets, Jason.
I do. You do too. If somebody had a pet, like if one of your neighbors in your building had a pet boa constrictor or a pet crocodile, wouldn't you judge that a little bit?
Well, I would judge the croc because that's not a pet by any definition.
What's the weirdest pet, you think? 651-461-9226.
Good question.
Weirdest, maybe you've had one of these pets.
I think snakes are strange. I think that's a strange pet to have.
Not very cuddly.
Not really. Although you do see people draping them around themselves, I guess.
Yeah, like trying to get, give me $5, you could take your picture with the big old snake.
I guess, I don't know.
It's strange.
That's an odd one.
Yeah. Sort of Britney Spears memories coming back. Remember that? What was that video where she had the snake?
I don't know. She was in the red outfit, that one, right?
Oh, wow.
I mean, you remember the snake. Don't, oh, well, me.
Oh, interesting. It's the classic. Oh, it was the Video Music Awards. She was performing. It's I'm a Slave for You.
Okay.
I'm a Slave for You. Britney, by the way, this segment is all over the place.
We're
the radio. I'm not.
We just talked about not putting the show in the ditch, and
you know what? Can't we have some fun? So we're not getting a Crystal Award for this.
No, not for this one. They're not submitting this one for any awards.
Brittany with the snake, probably in my top 5 snake-related moments would be Brittany.
That's fair.
But if there's somebody with a snake in my neighborhood, I don't want to touch it.
Not a fan.
I don't want to see it. I don't.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Snakes that's a pretty weird.
Yeah. Would not be my pet of choice.
Textures say pet goose. Pet goose, they live for 25 years. Ew. See, that is a factor in pet procurement.
Now, if you have a hobby farm, I can see having geese, right? Along with the chickens and the turkey and all that.
Yeah, I suppose.
But you don't have a pet goose in the suburbs, do you?
I don't know. You know how every ding-dong in the city wants to be like old McDonald now.
We have the homestead in Maple Grove.
In life, you make choices. If you choose to live in the city, you get to walk to a coffee shop and walk to the bus stop.
Sure.
You do not get to have a freaking farm in your backyard, you weirdos. I will die on this hill. Texter says we need a station cat or a boa constrictor. I've had both, and they will both eat mice. Yeah. Maybe that's the solution. Elizabeth is in Minneapolis. She's on the CCO Talk and Text line. Weird pet story, Elizabeth?
Well, kind of. So basically, hermit crabs are considered the best first pet for a child.
Okay.
But that is incorrect, and this is why. First of all, they live for 25 to 30 years if you do it correctly.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
You got that right. Secondly, in order for them to live that long, you have to follow a very strict molting schedule where they dig down deep. First of all, they have to have sand that's at least 8 inches deep so that they can dig down and disappear for 2 to 3 months.
What?
Not to be disturbed. And you want to know why I know all of this? Because I worked in this odd job in New York. Do you remember like the TV show The Office?
Oh, yeah.
This was that place. And my boss was like Michael, whatever his name is.
Michael Scott, yeah.
Yeah, and he adopted out of the blue a hermit crab. So the office had a hermit crab. And I was just like, oh, my God. This poor thing, it was in like a 3-by-5 inch tank. So on the day that I decided to ask the boss, could I please get a bigger tank? He said, does anyone want to adopt this crab? And I said, I'll adopt the crab. This was in 2002. The crab is still alive.
Oh, no.
And they're not hermits. They actually you have to have them live in a colony. They need at least 3 or 4 friends. So So now I've got 5 crabs that I've had since 2002. And this was all a charity thing.
Yeah. Oh, this one
So
dumb...
that's a weird pet story.
That I did not know.
That qualifies.
I'm looking at this like on an animal, services type website. But yeah, it says like the name hermit is misapplied. In the wild, they travel in packs of up to 100 crabs.
Yeah. And guess what? Here's the weirdest part about the whole story. I'm 61 years old.
Yeah.
Some of these crabs could outlive me. I mean, this is not like a little kid story.
No,
I mean,
no. Thanks, Elizabeth. See, this is what I'm saying. Like the length.
Yeah. If anybody tries to do that around this office, you're looking for a new producer. I'm just telling you right now.
The length of commitment is a key factor in choosing what pet you want to have. Let's go to Kara in Minneapolis. Hey, Kara.
Nope, we got her.
Hi, Kara. You're on CCO.
Hi, how's it going?
We're great. Give me your pet story.
Yeah, so I have been dog sitting for this family for 10 years, right? And so she contacts me and she's like, hey, we're going to Costa Rica. Can you dog sit? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So it's all set up. The night before I'm supposed to go over there, I get a video from the kids. And they're like, hey, thanks for taking care of our rats, too.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no.
Yes. I'm like, what? Yeah. They have a video. They have this huge cage. They both got a rat as a pet.
Yeah.
They were telling me how I had to feed it, clean their cage. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because it's like they're leaving the next day. What do I do? So I went over there.
I don't think that's your problem. I think that's their problem at that point.
Oh, yeah.
They drop that on you the day before they go. No way.
Right? I know. It was unbelievable. I mean, they look like rats. Like, they're big. Yeah, the long tail. And they had this huge cage, so they go up and down it. And so I would throw a treat in the top, and they ran up there. Ugh. And I closed that part, threw their food in the bottom part, and then closed the door and then let them back in there.
Oh, no.
No way.
No.
Yeah. For a week.
No.
A whole week?
Nope.
Yeah, they were gone for a week. Yeah.
Yeah. If my kids want it, I guess I'm lucky. Like, my kids didn't want any pet, although that does make me worry a little bit that they're like future sociopaths, right? Like, when your kids don't want a pet, you're like, are you guys all right? Like, but they just didn't. They're like their father, like a little more selfish. No room. No room for pets. We got to take care of ourselves. Yeah.
Right. Pets are a lot of responsibility. Exactly.
Yeah. Outrageous.
Yeah.
Kara, thank you. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Lots of good texts, too. Let's break. Most annoying pet. Weirdest pet. 651-461-9226.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Talking about WCCO with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could prevent an awkward experience. Here's a way to start the conversation. Your family is going to have dinner at the neighbors for the first time. Before you walk through their door, ask the question.
Hello?
Hey, we're really looking forward to tonight, but before we come over, I just need to ask, is WCCO playing in your home?
Oh, absolutely. It's preset on every radio and our smart speakers. And there's a backup transistor in the basement.
Oh, thank you. The kids feel safer already.
Don't assume WCCO is on. Have the conversation, because prolonged exposure to homes without News Talk 830 WCCO has been linked to uninformed opinions. And that's a risk no family should ever have to take.
Open the door to big savings at Menards. Mastercraft has been making high-quality doors for more than 50 years. Choose from our huge in-stock selection or design your door your way with our free step-by-step design program. And get your new door in 7 days or less. Save big money on Mastercraft doors. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm here with Alec Sherrod, a top mergers and acquisitions attorney with Helmuth & Johnson. Alec, Minnesota laws can be complex. How do you make sure you're on the right path?
At Helmuth & Johnson, we help businesses and individuals navigate Minnesota's laws with clarity and confidence. We understand how Minnesota's laws and courts work, and we guide you every step of the way.
So it's not just knowing the law, it's knowing Minnesota.
Exactly. Practical advice, local experience, real solutions.
If you're looking to buy or sell a business, go to hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side.
Get ready for patio season with By the Arts preseason sale, now through March 9th. Upgrade your summer setup and score major savings. For 30 years, they've built maintenance-free furniture that lasts a lifetime, backed by a 35-year warranty and delivered direct to you. Keep in mind, By the Arts preseason sale ends March 9th. Shop bytheyard.net or visit the showroom near you. By the Yard. Life is better outdoors.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Typical slowdowns moving across the metro, North 52, Plato to 94, 394 eastbound, 100 into Minneapolis, that's jammed up. And South 35W, some slowing areas move across the River Bridge, Mississippi River Bridge, heading through downtown down to Lake Street. Troy Peterson, News Talk 830 WCC7.
You sit on your deck, and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, forecast brought to you by JTR Roofing. Tonight, low of 42. Tomorrow, rain. Rain tonight, rain tomorrow, high of 52. It's 50 on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
You never know on this show. Yes.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Joe from Denver watching on YouTube says pet ferrets seem problematic, in my opinion. The ferret is a weird animal, right? Like it's, if you combine a dog and a rat, you have a ferret. Texter says, we've had a turtle since my son was about 6. He's now 26. Turtle is still alive. Son doesn't live here anymore. We've inherited the turtle. Yeah. It's tough, man. The pet world. I guess it's good. I just had to, scoop out the kitty litter for my in-laws' cat today. That's about all I could handle, that's for sure. Fun show. Thanks for listening. Check out the podcast. Just search Drive Time. We'll see you tomorrow. Or DeRush. Search DeRush.
Before you know it, get ready by listening to the Retirement Reality Report with Mark Dillon and David Linsky of